Mick Foley. Now, I was going to shoot this one in front of the Christmas tree, but I hurt my back earlier, and I don't feel like moving the chair in front of beside the Christmas tree. So that's the explanation for that. But Mick Foley, Mrs. Foley's baby boy, the hardcore icon, or is he the hardcore legend? Tommy Dreamer's hardcore icon. I don't know. He's hardcore somewhere. We're going to get into in a minute his anti-hardcore character in ECW when he was Cactus Jack. But first, we're going to talk about him recently leaving the WWE. After Rob Reiner and his wife Michelle were killed by their son Nick Reiner, proving no one named Nick is ever a good person. Trust me, I knew some Nicks in school, and they were evil fuckers. Donald Trump made disparaging remarks against Rob Reiner and his wife. Because the fact he's Donald Trump, and that's what he does. Well, Mick Foley decided that he's fed up with Donald Trump. And he decided he's fed up with WWE. My hands are shaking a little bit. And he decided he's fed up with WWE, who seems to support Donald Trump at every turn. They have an affiliation with Donald Trump. They invited Donald Trump to Cena's last match. That Saturday night main event. They seem to have this friendly, coercive relationship with Donald Trump. So Mick Foley decided, I'm done with WWE. He said in a post, he told WWE, I'm no longer making appearances for you. And when my Legends deals up in June, I will not be renewing. Now, Mick Foley is one of the nicest guys in wrestling, according to everyone. I mean, everyone says he is a super nice guy. And I mean, everyone says he is a super nice guy. Anyone you ask in wrestling who has ever met him says he is a super nice guy. And according to Ron Simmons, he is also a bit of a ladies' man. Which I don't know if it is the lack of, I don't know if it's the self-deprecating humor or the lack of a body or what. But I could totally picture a young Mick Foley as a ladies' man. But anyways, so this is a blow to WWE when the nicest guy in wrestling quits your company because of Donald Trump. And all I've got to say is, way to go, Mick Foley. I do not need to be spending as much time on this as I am, but way to go, Mick Foley. More people need to be quitting WWE because of Donald Trump. So I hereby quit WWE because of Donald Trump. I do not work for WWE, so it means absolutely nothing. But I'll still talk about WWE, but I do not work for them, so I quit them. Yeah, it doesn't make sense. It doesn't have to. My brain doesn't work. So here we go. Mick Foley's anti-hardcore character. Okay. Tommy Dreamer. Bear with me. I mean with an actual bear. Take a bear near you and bear with me. Tommy Dreamer was not originally over with the fans. But he was having a feud with the Sandman, and they had a Singapore cane match where the loser got 10 canings to the back, and Dreamer lost. And so Sandman gladly beat him in the back 10 times for the cane. And then afterwards, Tommy Dreamer said, "Please, sir, can I have some more?" And he kept repeating this until the Sandman got tired of caning him and then went to the back to drink some beer, which he was already inebriated, but that's the Sandman for you. Making Tommy Dreamer a fan favorite and the hardcore icon we know today. Mick Foley, on the other hand, was already a hardcore icon as Cactus Jack. He had put his body on the line numerous times. He had lost an ear. He had got numerous injuries. But Mick Foley decided was teaming with Tommy Dreamer. Now, something was different about Mick Foley, or Cactus Jack, as I should say. He was not brawling on the outside and was finishing matches with actual wrestling moves, unlike a lot of the people in ECW. But ECW fans didn't really notice this. But they did notice when Cactus Jack DDT'd Tommy Dreamer on the outside. And then Mick Foley cut a promo that is legendary, saying that he was there to save Tommy Dreamer, because Tommy Dreamer got a call from WCW and he never returned it. And so he was there to save Tommy Dreamer by injuring him the best way he could. So you save people by injuring them now. That makes as much sense as that Law and Order episode where I watched, where you save people from lesbians by raping them. That's an actual episode, by the way. You should watch it. It makes absolutely no sense, but it is from the Christian point of view. Save Tommy Dreamer and send him to WCW, where he could do a comedy gimmick and no longer have to be hardcore. And then Mick Foley started to team with Raven, who was Tommy Dreamer's enemy, and they both decided to save Tommy Dreamer. This led to another blistering promo from Mick Foley called, I believe it's the High Cost of Hardcore, but it might be the cost of hardcore, or it might be the high price of hardcore. My mind is not really working tonight because I've had a really rough night. The first one was the Kane Dewey promo, which is everybody's seen, but I highly recommend you watch this one too, because it is really good, where he talks about the cost of hardcore wrestling. He mentions Ray Stevens, he mentions Eddie Gilbert, he mentions Dynamite Kid, and how all these guys are pretty much beaten to hell and really have nothing left. And how he's going to save Tommy Dreamer from this. And because he's got nothing left. Cactus Jack has no redeemable qualities. He sees himself as not able to go to any of the big two, which was WWF and WCW at the time, because he's too far gone, is how he sees himself. So he's here to save Tommy Dreamer from doing that and send him to one of the big two where he can have an amazing career. Now, Cactus Jack in these promos is unforgettable. And this is really good promo work. Now their feud continued this was in 95. And their feud continued And Mick Foley delivered another blazing promo with Raven this time, called The Wonderful World of WCW, which I also highly recommend you watch. These are all on YouTube, where he talks about how great WCW is and talks about how Tommy Dreamer should go there. Because we all know WCW was great. That's why they went bankrupt and went out of business. And no one but Hulk Hogan could get over. Eventually, this feud never really saw a good conclusion because thanks to his anti-hardcore character, where he was actually wrestling, and his great promos, he got signed by WWF and went on to become Mankind, where he would also become Dude Love and Cactus Jack again, and have a great career until Donald Trump came around and he decided to fight Donald Trump in a steel cage match, which would be the greatest match of all time, to see Mick Foley beat the living tar out of Donald Trump, which is never going to happen because he's leaving WWF. But that would be a great match. I don't know if the Secret Service would allow it, but why not? I mean, Mick Foley's in like, what, his 60s? A 60-year-old versus an 80-year-old? What damage can he do? Anyways, I highly recommend you look up those promos. This was a great feud where Mick Foley was inflicting damage to save Dreamer from being hardcore and wanting him to go to WCW. Because WCW called and Dreamer didn't answer. Now, that's how you truly save someone. You just beat the crap out of them until they agree with what you say. I mean, that's how Trump's doing it right now. Yes, that was a shot at Trump. Okay, join me later in the week for FX's A Christmas Carol. It is unique. It's actually pretty good. I have a few complaints, but it's pretty good. So join me then.